Hey, Longboxers, it's Gabe, and it's time for another Thinking Outside the Longbox interview. So, I'm pretty sure you've gone onto Netflix, you've watched Sweet Tooth because it was the number one show on, like, the planet or whatever, a couple weeks ago. But let's talk today to Christian Convery. He is the young man that plays Gus, and let me tell you, if there's anybody that like truly embodies the character of Gus, it's Christian. This kid is so positive. He is super intelligent, and you can tell that somebody is telling him to not forget to mention Sweet Tooth. And it's like, honestly, as a father, I find it super adorable. Check it out. Well, Christian, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really well. So, obviously, you are the lead actor in Sweet Tooth on Netflix, which hit number one on Netflix kind of out of nowhere. So this is my 10-year-old. um, what do you think caused the show to be so popular so quickly?
What I think caused the show to be popular so quickly is how unique the show is to many other shows. Like, for example, this show has a plot that involves hybrids, which is something so, you know, confusing that would have never, just popped up randomly in my head. So Jeff Lemire did such a good job at creating such an amazing story plot. And then I love how the writers of the script, really took such a dark comic book and made it more family friendly for the whole family to watch. So that's what I also helped think. Well, that's what I also think helped make it more popular, being
So
it more family friendly.
that's awesome. So that's actually one of the questions I was going to ask. Like, the comic book is pretty dark and can be really, really intense. I'm really excited to watch the show with my daughter. Like, I've watched it all completely, but I told her yesterday that she really, really has to watch it. But I don't think I'd be comfortable with her reading the comic book. Did you get to read the comic book?
I read all three, and they are completely rated R.
Yeah.
Like it's dark, not
Yeah.
not fun, but it's really good at the same time.
Right.
It's
It's
super dark but super good, and I really loved how they made it more family friendly to portray on screen.
nice. So when you're working on the movie, obviously, like, a lot of that is practical effects, like with, and location things. But what's it like interacting with things that maybe aren't necessarily there? Because there is a lot of that in the show.
One of the good examples is Daisy the tiger,
Mhm.
who's in the animal army. Sorry for spoiling that to your daughter, but the tiger, he wasn't really there, obviously, because she'd probably go loose and then eat everyone on set, and from there on. But yeah, getting to do scenes where there's not actually something that you're talking to there is really, interesting because it's like you're talking to yourself practically, but it's really kind of fun and a new experience because you're talking to nothing and you're totally not expecting anything to be there on screen. But then when it's on screen, it's really cool to see that. So that's what I also really love about scenes where you just talk to nothing.
It's really interesting to think about your age when it comes to what you're doing. You have a profession, you have a career at an age where I was, like, still collecting, like, garbage pail kids cards and arguing with my friends. How do you find a way to balance, like, the work of being in a television show and film with, like, just being a kid?
you know, I just treat acting as a completely fun activity that, I get to do to make other people happy. That's what I really love about acting. I don't like to think it's a job. I just do it for fun, and I love how it makes people happy. And you know, I chill out with my friends, I argue with my friends. You know, we play games together, we go outside to the park, like kind of normal, and you know, we do activities like going to the pool together. And that's what I love about acting, you know. It's kind of like that, but you know, it's actually going out there to the whole world. But I just think that it's normal and a part of my everyday life. And that's what I really love about it.
That's awesome. So, you know, I think a lot of the time we think of movies like only from our own perspective, especially as adults. So like when I see shots of you, like when you're in the lodge with the other family, when you almost stay, and you guys are running around in like the sweatshirt racks and stuff like that, you know, that's something I used to do when I was a little kid, was like hide inside of the clothes. Do you think do you think that you approach filmmaking and being an actor differently than the adults around you because you're younger and because you really see everything differently?
Um, so I really just, I don't know. Acting's like a fun thing that I get to do. You know, I get to play pretend, get to, you know, meet new people, get new friends, and I just get to pretend to play this character on screen. And turns out it makes people happy and entertain people. And, you know, like you were talking about hiding in those racks, you know, that was super fun for me because I love Nerf guns and I love, you know, hide and seek. So getting to do that was like a completely normal experience to me on set. And it was really fun getting to wear those antlers because it's like I've never worn them before.
Mhm.
And being getting to like play a dear boy was such a fun experience because, well, it's kind of a whole new experience and world. That's what I really love about acting.
Did you ever have any funny moments with the antlers, like where you bumped into somebody or got stuck in a door or trying to put a shirt on or anything like that?
Thousands of uncountable times. Okay, I'll list one. So I'm doing this massive running scene in the forest, and then we were running, and then my antler got caught on a branch. Was not found for 3 hours, or
Oh
something
man.
crazy like that. But thank gosh thank gosh they have backup antlers though.
Right.
That's a lifesaver. Yeah, definitely.
So speaking of the antlers, like I was really curious about this. Like you know, obviously it's a practical effect. How are they keeping them attached to your head?
So they were keeping it attached to my head by a cap that was originally glued onto my head in hair and makeup, and they're magnetic. There's two little magnetic stubs on the cap that the antlers can attach and reattach to. So that's what I, you know, really love about the antlers. You can just take them on and off. It's pretty funny.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's really interesting that they're on there magnetically. It probably makes it a lot safer for when you run into a branch as well. It's not like whipping your head around.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So so there are some really like awesome action scenes, like particularly like on the train and things like that. You know, you got to be right there because like you're in a lot of those shots and you get to see like the stuntmen doing their thing. What's that like? What's it like watching a big old fight scene happen in front of you?
It's epic. It's like an action movie in real life, except no one's getting hurt, which is really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did was there ever like were there ever like scenes where you know you felt like you got to really be a part of the action, like because you know you're in some really great scenes, especially like with the animal army and stuff like that. Like did you ever get like your heart pumping because it just felt so exciting? Or
The whole show got my heart pumping. Like the whole show was one big action moment for me, and I loved it so much. And again, that's why I love acting. There's uncountable reasons for why I love acting, and you know, I loved getting to be there in the moment, full of action. Like in some of those action scenes, where, like, for example, I'm freeing Jeopard, and the whole animal army's fighting in front of me, and I'm scared, and I love that scene. And the stunts that I got to do and the parkour that I got to do. Like, for example, that hook scene where I jump into a pile of toilet paper on the train.
Mhm.
You know, I just love that.
That's
So Sweet Tooth was definitely the best experience I've had.
so, one thing that I thought was really interesting about the show is it deals with a lot of like really adult ideas from like a kid perspective. Like, so, the pandemic that we just went through, obviously it alludes to a lot of that with the sick, and then a lot of the protest movements that we've seen over the last year, it kind of alludes to that with the animal army. Like, do you feel like you're I mean, it's such a strange question to ask a kid, but do you feel like you're able to like say important things to people through your acting?
Uh, yeah, I guess so. Like, when filming Sweet Tooth, I always had this message in my head, and I really wanted to bring out that message of hope in Gus, because Gus is such a hopeful and cheerful, optimistic, positive person, which is literally me in real life. So getting to play the role of Gus was super fun because we're kind of the exact same, except that he's a deer. Like we both love sour candies, when we both love parkour, jumping, and running, and we love nature. So getting to portray that message on screen, that message of hope and positivity, was really fun, and it seemed natural for me to do.
It's awesome because it's a big part of why I want my kid to watch it, is because in a lot of ways I feel like a Jepsen kind of character. Like I did some dumb stuff when I was younger. I'm not necessarily the happiest person in the world, but that idea that he says that you have hope just coming out of your pores, like that's how my daughter is too. And it's fun to see the world around me through her eyes, especially watching movies and television with her, because it gives me a sense of what it's like to be a kid again. Like, do you ever have adults come up to you and say, man, I loved this show because it made me feel like a kid again?
I haven't heard that exact response, but I've heard something around those lines. Yeah,
that
definitely.
that's cool. Like, how did like how did your parents like respond to it? Because it's like a really it's a I mean in a lot of ways it's a very powerful and like amazing performance. Like on our show, when we talked about it, we talked about how like we consider you one of the better child actors that we've ever seen, because you actually are embodying the character that you're playing on screen. Sorry, the question got lost in there. Like, how did your parents feel about it?
My parents were super excited and happy for me, and my mom, she threw this party for me, and we all watched the episodes together, and she was really proud of me and happy, and really excited that I got to portray the role of Gus.
That's awesome. Well, as you're going forward, what are some of the things that you look forward to doing as an actor?
So, first of all, season 2 of Sweet Tooth, hopefully.
Right.
Fingers crossed, because that was super fun to film. And I want to do it again.
Well, and we all want to
Um,
know what happens next, that's for sure.
oh, same. I certainly do also. But outside of that, I'd like to write a script. That would be super fun because, I've always wanted to like write stories, like an action story or a comedy story. And I also want to maybe produce a show. I don't know how that works, but maybe I could. Who knows?
I mean,
um,
buddy, you have your whole life. You could do literally anything, man.
well, not everything, but
Probably most everything.
maybe. I don't know.
Now, so what do you like if you were to like get down and write a script, what do you think you would write about?
Uh, I have actually zero idea.
That's awesome.
Literally zero idea. But I've always wanted to kind of create a unique plot that has action in it.
Yeah.
Definitely. I love
That's
action movies.
that's cool. So what are some of your favorite action movies that you kind of drew inspiration when it comes to running and jumping and shooting people in the head with a slingshot?
Um, well, my favorite action movies are like Mission Impossible and that whole trilogy, and Lord of the Rings, which is such a good adventure movie trilogy also. And I really love the trilogy movies, if that's even a term for them. I love binge watching is what I'm trying to say.
Nice.
And I also love, getting to play this action and adventure character in an action and adventure story plot. So, that was super fun to get to do.
That's awesome. Well, so as we're kind of wrapping up, because I won't want to take up too much of your time because I already got on late, what are some of the ways that our fans can like find out what you're going to do next, or just like see what you're doing? Obviously, they can watch Sweet Tooth on Netflix because it's streaming now, and if you don't watch it, you're stupid, so, so how can people find you online, man?
They can find me on Instagram and Twitter and IMDb. IMDb is the International Movie Database, I believe. It's where you can look any actor up, producer, writer, director, scriptwriter, anyone who's in the business or acting industry. You can look them up. You can see all the projects that they've done, what's in post-production, what's currently filming, what's getting ready to do filming, all this information. And you can catch me on Instagram at Christian Convery and on Twitter too.
Nice. Well, Christian, thank you so much for your time, man. It was absolutely amazing to have you on the show. Like, I can't believe that sometimes I get to interview people that are like the same age as my youngest kid, which makes me excited for you and feel super duper old. So thanks for being amazing in Sweet Tooth. Like, legitimately, Gus is a character that I hope everybody gets to experience because he's just so hopeful and kind in a world that is really unhopeful and unkind.
Thank you. It was really fun talking to you.
You have a wonderful day, man.
You too. Bye.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I did. Gus is a really, really cool kid. If you liked it and you're on YouTube, be sure to give us a like and a subscribe. If you're on the podcast, go ahead and share this with a friend because they're going to want to hear it too. Really great kid. Of course, as always, you can find us at totlb.com. That's where all of our social media is. And you can go to patreon.com/totlb where you can get all sorts of cool stuff from us for your subscription. And again, if you're on YouTube, give us a like or subscribe. Give us a like or subscribe. And go ahead and hit that notifications button so you don't miss another video. Juan's been doing these really cool shorts about today in comics that have been really fun. I've been really enjoying them. So be sure to check it out. Until next time, I've been Gabe, and this has been another interview.